Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Returns, the podcast where we give credit to the 1992 Batman sequel, Batman Returns, 1 minute at a time. I am the second assistant host, Niall McGowan.
And what can I be? I need a good title, god damn it. You've stolen the best one.
That's one of my points in this minute is like there's a second assistant director. So you could be the second assistant host.
I think I'll stick to DGA trainee. I think I'm the trainee, really. I'm John Parker.
Oh, and for people, anyone who heard the voice in the background there, that is our guest for the day. This is vocal coach and YouTuber Beth Roars.
Hey! Yeah, sorry, I just was like, I don't know what I am. I need to have a better look and see. There is so many people on this minute.
Oh my god, yes. Names and names and names.
Yeah. I hope they all got paid well.
I'm just seeing people like this property master and then assistant property masters. It's like property master makes you sound like you're a badass, and then assistant property master is like, yeah, you ain't in charge though. Like you're just the assistant.
The people like to make these titles. Like I'm not belittling the job. We've all done it, but I saw an advert for working in the supermarket in Tesco. And I think the advert referred to the staff members as, it was like food replenishment technician. Wow. Oh, so they stock the shelves. Okay.
Technician. I like that. We should use that. I could use that for everything. Voice technician. Yeah. I might change my name to that instead of vocal coach. Yeah. It sounds better, doesn't it?
Or vocal engineer.
Engineer. Yeah. Ooh. It sounds like I'm literally going to make like a Frankenstein's monster, like making a larynx, though. I don't know if I have the skills.
Oh, that's wonderful. You could give it your best shot. That's what Frankenstein did.
Yeah.
I think you took the wrong message from Frankenstein there, John. Like, this guy just gave it his all, you know?
Yeah, he didn't succeed in quite the way he intended, but by God, he tried.
Yeah, you always turn off the movie like half an hour in. You're like, oh, that was not a nice ending. Like, everything worked out for him.
That's nice.
But anyway, today we're here to talk about minute 122 of Batman Returns, the first official end credits minute. Woo! And kind of quite excited though, because at least in Batman Forever, the opening credits of that movie are like 1 minute long. So it's like once we get these end credits over, we won't have to deal with proper credits again for like a year and a half or something.
God, that's beautiful.
That's not to be like the poo-poo the fact that you've been brought on specifically to talk about a credit minute.
I know.
Oh, we need to bring on people of caliber to get through the tough credits. That's what it is. You have to bring on the best.
The pressure, the pressure.
That's exactly right. Nice save. That's a nice save, John.
Oh, God. Well, we'll see. I mean, I did check who wrote the music because I felt like if I didn't know that, then everyone would be like, what sort of vocal coach are you? I did have to Google. I looked on Wikipedia. But then I was like, of course, it's Danny Elfman because he works with Tim Burton all the time.
Yeah.
Of course.
Basically everything.
Yeah, exactly.
If you couldn't tell from the
yeah,
throughout everything, it's like, oh, that's Danny Elfman.
Yeah,
There's no doubt
of course. Why would I doubt that? Yeah, and I enjoy that. I enjoy the general music score that you get from a Tim Burton movie.
Yeah. We were going to ask you, like, I'm not too sure at what point to bring it up because it's not technically in this minute. We kind of covered it throughout the movie when it played briefly, but like it'll be at the end of the end credits. But like I think me and John will be just doing those episodes ourselves because it'll be like the last episode. Yeah. But we did mention that Susie Sue, of Susie Sue and the Banshees did the spin-off single Face to Face, and like if people don't know you, Beth, like you're sort of claim to fame on YouTube is that you do sort of evaluations of vocal tracks and stuff of well-known popular music. And do you have a particular opinion on the vocals of Susie Sue?
Oh, it's
in that
weird.
song?
It's weird, isn't it?
Oh, be kind. She's one of my heroes.
No, she's great, but it is like, it's so unusual, all the stuff that she does. There's my favorite bit. She does this thing that I can't do without sounding like a pigeon. Like a I'm going to try. I don't think I can do it. Brr, brr. That sound? How does she do that? It's amazing.
I know what you mean, yeah.
It's like kind of like a pigeon, but kind of like a rolly R. And I was like, oh, wow, this is interesting. I love her voice. I mean, she isn't doing anything like doing massive high notes, but everything she does is weird and interesting and kind of creepy in a good way. I like a creepy singer.
Yeah, she always had a vibe, people said, of like an ice queen as well. She's like quite scary, but she's not doing anything particularly scary, if that makes sense. It's like unsettling, I guess.
Yeah,
is the
but
right
she does
word.
a lot of like singing on consonants. So she's like like sings on very sibilant consonants. I always think that sounds like she could speak parcel tongue.
Oh. If anyone can, Susie Sue can.
Yeah, so it makes her seem a bit Slytherin, that's all.
Everyone's favourite house. Come on, I have a Slytherin tie.
Do you?
Oh.
I wore it to work once and nobody was the wiser. It was great.
How did you keep it on your neck if it's slithering about the place?
Oh, that was terrible. That's one of my dads.
Niall is a childless dad.
Essentially, yeah. There was a bit actually I was tempted to send when you were sending like your Skype details, Beth, and you said like Beth Roars, all one word, and I was just I literally was typing out what's the one word you roar, and I was like, I better not, just in case her last name actually is Roars and she gets like crap for it all the time. It's like I better not. I'll not make any jokes.
Oh no, it's fine. Although, as I said when we were chatting earlier, I do have some really funny comments because it isn't my actual surname, and a lot of people try to Google Clan McRoars on my comments, and I just find it the most funny thing. There is not a Clan McRoars.
You're the founder. You're starting a new clan now.
Yeah, maybe I should. What would our tartan be? What colour?
Oh, I'm partial to a green, like a nice green.
Well, I mean, if you want to make it in tribute to the fact that it's been birthed on a Batman Returns podcast, I guess it'll be like black and white. They're kind of like the colors of this movie. A lot of black and white.
Yeah.
And maybe a little sheen of pink for like the neon sign in Selena's apartment.
Yeah.
So black, white, and green. Or not green, pink. Sorry.
I like it. I'm currently wearing yellow tartan trousers, so that doesn't really count, though. Yellow. I suppose yellow's on Batman's chest.
Wow, that's bold.
Yeah.
Bold.
Yeah.
Bold choice. I'm sad that I can't see because says I don't think have I seen a pair of yellow tartan trousers? I don't think I have.
Oh, I'm an interesting character. when it comes to these things, this is my milder kind of look.
What's your do you have funny hats or something? What's
oh
your
no,
style?
Niall's the hat man.
Yeah.
What's
I gotta take care of that department.
Do you have a Batman hat? You should get a Batman
No,
hat.
I don't have a Batman hat actually. I'm surprised that I keep thinking too I should buy one of, because we have t-shirts, but I don't have one of them. Like John he has two of our
I have
t-shirts.
two.
I was like,
Really?
I was like, I see those symbols all the time. Like, if I need it, I know where it is. You know.
Yeah.
So that's a nice plug for our t-shirts, people. Go to TeePublic.
Yeah, I don't buy it, but you might, like, if you want to.
You could get it on a mug if you want, or a lovely tote bag.
Ooh.
Who doesn't need a tote bag?
Yeah. I mean, it's good. It's good for your shopping. It's eco-friendly.
Yeah. I only own one tote bag though, and it's who is it? It's a tote bag of the political figure Rosa Luxemburg.
Oh.
Which is very unusual. I got it free with a book.
That's very random.
Mm.
Yeah, I actually I sound like a massive Harry Potter person. I do like Harry Potter, but I do have sadly a Gryffindor tote bag.
Oh.
That's good. That's fine.
Oh,
Yeah.
I still feel like I only watched Harry Potter for the first time last year when I was 30. And I tore through all the movies in a week because it was like a cultural blind spot. I was like, I've got to watch these things. But I feel even more like it's a cultural blind spot now because I get the references, but I was so not fussed by the films. I just have a real, like, people mention Gryffindor. I'm like, yeah, no, that's a thing. But I don't know what it, I'm like, I feel bad now, though, because every time I feel like I'm poo-pooing this franchise where people really love it.
It's okay.
I didn't hate it, but it was... My takeaway from it was watching those movies with no other context was like, I get if you grew up on books that expands all this stuff and you were like you were a young kid when you read them, this would be amazing. Yeah. But a 30-year-old jaded man is not the target audience for Harry Potter, I don't think.
No. I suppose it's all about nostalgia, isn't it? That's why everyone loves it so much.
We'll pretend that I didn't watch and read them when I was like 26.
Oh, you're like, I'm still gonna be a wizard. I know, my letter's coming in the post soon.
There's still time. Did they ever say there was a time limit on this? No.
Well
maybe
age
they did,
11, but it's fine. It's fine. We'll pretend it didn't say that.
Don't reveal it.
You'll just be like a mature student of Hogwarts. Maybe they'll open a new course for mature students.
Yeah, like an open university.
Yeah.
I'm on board with this.
Yeah, for sure. Do you think you could have a Batman university? Like, do you think Batman could teach? Because it's all about the skills, really, with him, isn't it? And, like, learning and on the gadgets. Like, how to make the gadgets. I think they should open. He should, like, branch out and he'd make even more money than he already has.
That would be great, actually, because there'd be a lot of variety to the classes, because... he's a detective at the end of the day, so there'd be like the investigative element. So you'd have to learn all that kind of police work on the side of the gadget making.
Yeah,
I guess he already is kind of like a private tutor to Robin. The Robins that keep coming along. He's like, I'm teaching people, but it's just one at a time.
Yeah.
But luckily, we haven't had a Robin in these movies yet.
That's it. Oh, it's all downhill from here.
Oh dear.
I was actually watching, because I'm back home visiting my family at the minute, and I was watching a little bit of Batman Forever yesterday with my, he'll be 4 in August, my nephew. And he was like, oh, who's in this one? I was like, this is like Two-Face and the Riddler, the villains in this one. And then he was watching the opening scene where there's like, they first arrive on the Batman first arrives to stop Two-Face, but he talks briefly to Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Gordon, and my nephew was like, oh, the Penguin. And I was like, no, the Penguin's not there. And he's like, I just saw him. And I was like, no, the Penguin's not there. It's the Riddler and Two-Face. It's like, that's the Penguin. And I was like, that's Commissioner Gordon. And he was like, oh, why is he so small? I'm like, that's what we've been asking for 2 damn seasons. Like, why is this guy playing Commissioner Gordon?
Makes no damn sense.
But anywho,
we should talk about some of the credits.
Oh yeah, we should for sure. We've just avoided that and gone all around. Like the credits is, I don't know. All I know is there's so many of them.
There's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like I should have a little look and see like what roles are there in it.
See, we've got here like the first credit is production manager / associate producer Ian Bryce.
Wait, Slash worked on the movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was the production manager, and then the associate producer was Ian Bryce. That's just what I just said.
Of course, I should have known. Sorry.
But we do have this thing I thought was just ridiculous with the first assistant director, then the second assistant director, and then the second assistant director. I was like, isn't that just the third assistant director? Like, no.
And her name is Marge Payne as well. It's like she's in pain from being so much pain. Marge Payne. That was a bad joke. That was
bless
bad.
Her. The worse the joke, the better.
Okay, I'm trying to match you guys. I'm going to say that, but it's actually untrue. My jokes are always that bad.
Yes, good. You'll fit right in. Actually, I did have a note, though, about the first guy there, Ian Bryce, before you head off. Just to say, this guy's career, holy crap. He has worked on everything under the sun. Like, he started out as a production assistant on Return of the Jedi, Clearly the best Star Wars movie. Don't at me. If you,
that's a real swagger in your step too. Like your first job.
Yeah.
Star Wars.
Who the hell gets that?
Yeah.
It's like back in the day, they didn't care. Like, just get whoever to work on it. It's just like, it'll turn out fine.
Yeah, but the third in the biggest movie trilogy of all time. It's not like the first Star Wars. Okay, there'll be unknowns on that. It's the third one. Just get some guy in. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's the secret to making successful Star Wars movies that everybody likes. Is like, just don't care about them when you're making them. Just get whoever off the road. Because now it's just like, people still complain about The Last Jedi because there's so much expectation around it, and there's so much expectation around those prequels. But back then, it was just like, some kid wandered in, and we got a TV director to make the whole thing.
Fine.
And it's like, yeah, it'll turn out great. Don't worry about it.
Well, he then went on, he worked on a few other things of note. I'm not going to list them all, but he worked on Temple of Doom and Last Crusade. The Rocketeer, so shout out to Jim O'Kane. Speed. Saving Private Ryan.
Oh, different.
Very different, mixing it up. And then coming back to superhero-y kind of things, he worked on Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And every single one of the Transformers movies.
Oh.
Wow.
All of them. Until Bumblebee. I don't think he... Oh, I forgot if he worked on Bumblebee or not.
A Bumblebee's like the good one as well. Thank God we got rid of that friggin' Ian Bryce guy. Now we can make a movie over here.
Hey, I don't fault him for working on him. He must have made a killing.
Yeah.
It really is this thing. Like, you can't fault the people behind the scenes because they're just doing the job, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I know there's this whole business now where people are... There's this kind of petition to remake season 8 of Game of Thrones and stuff. And it's a whole bit. Then I know Sophie Turner has started complaining, well, like, that's very disrespectful to all the people who worked so hard. And it's kind of like, yeah, you can have beef with it, but like, there's a lot of work went into making that. So at the end of the day, it's like, you can have your problems with it, but don't be like friggin' poo-pooing. Like, you could poo-poo the lighting guy because you couldn't see anything in the third episode. But, like, beyond the lighting technician in that one episode.
Yep, and I will argue with that lighting technician to his face if I ever meet him, where he was blaming everyone else for not being able to see. Oh, your TV's calibrated wrong. No, it's not. I can see every other show I watch perfectly fine.
This is it's like, we brought out the podcast and it was like way too silent. I'll be like, well, that's your fault for not turning it right up to the exact calibration that we need you to listen to it on. But anyway, some of the taking a few random names myself here. I did look into first AD David McGiffert.
Mm-hmm.
And he's done a couple of really choice things as well. But like, I always try to find just like the weirdest things I've done because it's just like, this is he did the same job on Empire of the Ants with Joan Collins, which is about a con artist that tries to sell bogus real estate in an area overrun by giant ants.
Oh wait, is it like a horror movie? What?
I think it's like a sci-fi thing.
Weird.
Okay.
He's also worked on a movie called The Man with Bogart's Face, which is some guy who becomes so fixated on Humphrey Bogart, he has plastic surgery to look like him. And then I looked at like the main actor in it, and all he does is appear in things as Humphrey Bogart.
Does he look like him?
He does genuinely look like him, but if you go through his credit list, it's just like an episode of Sybil as Bogart and like random things. And then he'd be like Bogey, DJ or something like that, where it's like, I'm guessing they had a joke that the DJ in it looked like Humphrey Bogart, I guess.
Well, former guest of the show, Ash Lerczak, his band, Zombina and the Skeletones, have a song with a very similar plot, but the singer... It's called Vincent Price, but the singer, Zombina, is having plastic surgery to look like Vincent Price. So I wonder if they were influenced by that.
I think that'd be up Tim Burton's alley. We should have tried sending him that way. We might have got him on the show.
Yeah.
We know
back when we were talking about Tim Burton, but now it's just like, the very end. Like, like in the tail end of like, you want to do the last episode of a show about your movies?
No, we'll give Tim a minute from the next film.
Although McGiffert also worked on Brainstorm, which of course is the movie with Chris Walken and Natalie Wood. So it's like, that was one of our hopes throughout the season, that like, maybe Chris Walken will finally get done for allegedly maybe having something to do with the death of Natalie Wood. I was like, oh, we could be on the ground floor covering that from the way up. And I was like, nah, didn't happen.
I was hoping we'd crack the case, basically.
I guarantee the day the finale airs, they're going to be like, Chris Walken has been arrested. Like, oh, God damn it.
Oh, no.
Yeah. But he also worked on all the Back to the Futures and Twilight.
Oh.
But not that Twilight. He worked on a movie called Twilight in 1998 with Susan Sarandon, who was briefly courted to be in this movie as Catwoman, but she left to be in Lorenzo's Oil, taking over a part vacated by Michelle Pfeiffer.
Oh,
So,
I
there
watched
you
that
go.
movie in high school biology class.
Oh.
There we go.
Yeah.
Well, everyone needs to know about the biology of Lorenzo's Oil. Like, to get the graphs up and
Hey,
stuff.
when the teacher wheels that television out, you don't complain.
I always had really sad things at school. I just
Aw.
remember, I don't even remember what the movie was called, but I remember it was a kid who had a pet chicken and then bullies killed his chicken. That was like the movie that we always had to watch. And they played it again and again. And also like I would like be super sad and be like trying not to cry. This is a really sad story. But also you're like trying to be super cool at school and be like, no, I'm not crying. I don't cry at movies. It's so,
No.
not
I don't
at all.
care.
I don't care about the chicken. I cared about the chicken a lot.
Hey, I cry at every film. I've probably cried at Batman, so I understand.
Yeah.
I've never been very troubled because one time in English class we had to watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, and I knew how emotional I get at the end of that, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. So I was having to sit like ignoring the movie towards the end and stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I cannot get engaged with this plot line, so I'm gonna make a complete fool of myself in front of these people.
So I did have a note here for the next. I've got the supervising art director, Tom Duffield. I just thought he was another one who worked on a lot of good stuff that's in our wheelhouse, because he worked on Ghostbusters 2, which we defend every few episodes. Beetlejuice.
Oh, nice.
I love Beetlejuice.
Good. Excellent. Well, do you like this? Also similar, Tim Burton. He worked on Ed Wood.
I've not seen it.
Oh.
Is it because it's in black and white? Beth? And you're like, no, I refuse to watch it.
Yeah, I maybe that's why. Imagine. No, I've seen lots of black and white movies. Actually, I can't even remember what one I was watching. I'm so bad at names. I'm gonna stop because I'm just gonna say the wrong name.
I'm exactly the same. Don't worry. But he also worked on, sadly, the American version of The Ring. Now, I'm a huge fan of the Japanese one, Ringu.
Oh, so creepy though.
It's the second one, the Japanese one, scariest movie I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, it's scarier than the first. The first one's a better film, but the second one is just terrifying.
Oh god.
It's wonderful. But the American one, it butchers the plot. There's something about horses. What the hell?
Well, that's the thing. Like, in talking about like, oh, a certain generation of people are going to just think like, oh, that's Aladdin, and they're not going to know about the other one. I've spoken to people where they've brought up The Ring, and I'll start talking about like, oh yeah, I've seen The Ring, and blah 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 blah. And then like 2 minutes into the conversation, I'll start realizing, oh, they're talking about the American one. Because they'll mention something about like Brian Cox and a horse, and I'm like, a horse. Oh, that one. No, I'm talking about the other movie.
Yeah, or they'll say Samara, and I'm like, no, Sadako.
Yeah. But anywho, do you have anything else on Tom Duffield?
No, that's about it. I mean, he worked on a few other things, Men in Black, stuff like that. But but weirdly, actually, the set decorator, is it Cheryl Karasik? I'm not sure how you pronounce her name.
Oh yeah,
because she has worked on almost exactly the same films as Tom Duffield. Like, almost all of them are identical. I think they must come as a package.
Maybe she fancies him. She just like follows him around.
Oh, that's clever.
That's been like every set they're working on. People are like, "Do you think there's a spark between Tom and Cheryl?"
Yeah.
Hey, it's a good tactic that conveniently bump into each other. Oh, hi, fancy seeing you here.
Just happened to get the same job as you. I don't know how. I only apply for jobs that you're on.
How can this happen 8 times in a row? But she's done a little bit more after the fact. Like she has worked on the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, which he hasn't.
Right.
So maybe they've split up.
Oh, she gave up. She went for someone else on that movie. She was like, you know what? I've had enough. You're not.
Ooh.
Yeah, she wanted like a hardcore pirate. That's what she was going for now.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, it's a new type.
Maybe that's why she was so desperate. Like, I think this guy's stalking me, and then she got this like, I think he can't swim. So if I apply to jobs that are on like boats and stuff, I'll finally be rid of him.
Yeah, maybe that's a good tactic.
Some details on. Well, I looked at the name Nick Navarro stuck out at me instantly. So I'm like, I'll say anything to Dave Navarro, and from what I can tell, no. But yeah, he's one of the set designers, and he worked on, appropriately enough, Cat People, the '80s Cat People with Malcolm McDowell, and the Bowie spin-off single.
Yeah, I'm just singing that in my head now. I'll be honest.
But we did mention briefly that Cat People, the original, had an influence on the portrayal of Catwoman in this movie. But not the remake, though. I can't imagine Tim Burton strikes me as the type. He's like, I didn't even see the remake. Like, he doesn't. I think he's an OG kind of Cat People guy. He's probably sitting there giving out like, there's generations, man, who think that's Cat People, and they don't know about the original Cat People and stuff. But he also worked on Sleepy Hollow,
Ooh.
Planets of the Apes,
Ooh.
which is just right beside the Empire of the Ants. And also worked on Joe versus the Volcano. And I know there's a Joe versus the Volcano Minute coming soon.
Oh, yeah.
with,
I have not seen the film. That's awful, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a pretty good film. It's one I think it's like, it's a bit of an odd movie to treat minute by minute, but I'm sure it's like it's Jarf Harden, former guest, and Tierney Steele. So it's like those two can chat up a storm. So I'm sure that even if there's nothing happening on screen,
I love the
totally
way
fine.
the movies by minutes world is now so entrenched that it's okay to say, oh, that's a weird movie to pick to do minute by minute. Not that the whole concept is weird.
Yeah, the concept is. You know what? I'm new to this whole concept, and I was saying to my friend, and she's like, "Oh, unusual. What a great idea!" And then apparently, I've just learned that it's a massive thing.
Oh, it's a thing. Yes, we stole the idea. But,
we came in like, I say quite late to the game, but the game's still going. So I think we came in like midpoint.
No, we were like the third wave.
The third wave.
Yeah, there's like 7 waves now.
Yeah. We're like old school now. We're retro. Yeah. But normally we do talk more about the minute, but there's more going on usually.
Yeah. To be fair, I mean, there's a lot of black screen in this. We could talk about the fonts. The font is lovely.
Oh,
I tried to find out what the font was.
Well, this is the thing from, as you might recall, John, from the opening credits.
I was going to say, from what I could see, it looked the same.
Yeah, but there was a reading one random review. One of the guy's critiques was that the font for the credit was Times New Roman.
Yeah,
and he was just like, "What the hell? They couldn't even bother getting new font on and stuff." I'm like,
hey, those font packs are expensive.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you're hating on the font, it's like, dude, you got too much time. Like, come on.
I did like as well the visual effects supervisor here, Michael Fink.
I was wondering, anything to Barton Fink? But,
yes, the long lost brother of
they
Barton
brought
Fink.
him on because they want that Barton Fink feel to this movie.
The Fink feel. We all want to feel the Fink.
They really want that Barton Fink voice in this picture.
But he worked on very visual films, as in ones that you think of the visuals first in some ways, which means he must be very good at his job, because he did Mars Attacks. I'm not going to comment on the quality of all of these, by the way, but the visuals, right? So Mars Attacks, Sucker Punch, very visual. Avatar, the first 2 X-Men movies. And before that, earlier on in his career, he did Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I am a big defender of that, but again, quality is not relevant here. Blade Runner as well, and the remake of The Blob.
Oh, yeah. Someone else here,
visual
actually.
again.
It's like one of my other notes. Someone else worked on the remake of The Blob, actually, somewhere in here.
Oh. I
But,
have never seen either version.
Oh, the Blobs. Both Blobs are really good.
I think I would love them. Yeah.
I have no idea. What are they even about?
A blob.
It's about a blob.
A blob.
Yeah. No, the original one's like it's like an early Steve McQueen movie it's like a proper sci-fi B movie from the 50s
Okay.
where it's like a thing falls out of space and there's a blob that eats everything in its path and stuff, and people are just like running around like, what are we gonna do about this blob? And eventually they freeze it, and then I think it was the first movie to do like at the end you think everything's over, and then the title the credit comes up saying the end, and then a question mark appears behind
An
it.
actual question mark, not even like a little blob sneaking in the background.
No, it's like proper like, whoa, question mark.
My God.
But I think it was like the first movie to do that. The second one, or the remake, I thought was like pretty good. It's got a nice part for Shawnee Smith, who was in Becker. Of course, everyone remembers her from Becker, and like the Saw movies and stuff. But I remember she like single-handedly takes on the blob towards the end. It's like, oh, she's kind of a badass in this. I'm actually enjoying this movie. But the first one's great because it's before. I think they tried to keep the idea like a horror movie should be like really spooky all the time, because it has like a jazzy theme tune, and it's got like I'll post it in the listener group, but like the opening credits of the original Blob has got this jazzy little number that goes like dun, 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 dun. And then the lyrics are like, beware of the blob, it seeks and creeps and slides and dives across the floor.
I'm imagining a blob with a top hat on and like a little cane doing a little dance to the intro.
Yes. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
It's genuinely great. It's just funny. But the thing you'd never get nowadays is people like, you can't put on a silly song about the monster before the friggin' movie even starts.
I'd be terrified.
Yeah.
Of course, other credits I've got here, the still photographer, Zaid Rosenthal. I was like, anything to Rick Rosenthal? Of course, the acclaimed director of Halloween 2 and Halloween Resurrection with Busta Rhymes.
I genuinely loved that, and Busta Rhymes is the best thing in it.
He is. That film is terrible, but Busta Rhymes is like, he's having a great time.
Yeah.
He's making you enjoy it by watching him.
Yeah.
Because he's just like, I'm in a Halloween movie.
I could watch him every day of my life.
But the other things that the Zaid wrote, or I'm assuming it's Zaid, or maybe Zadie, or I'm not too sure, but he also worked Zadeh. He worked on something called Happy Campers, which was written and directed by Dan Waters, the guy who wrote this movie. It was also produced by Denise Denovi, who produced Batman Returns as well.
Ooh.
But it seems to be like one of those, like, a bunch of campers go out and maybe they have sexy times because they're teenagers and they're sexy and it's in the sun and stuff. But I'm assuming because Dan Waters also wrote Heathers, that it'll be like a subversion of that as well. So, but the stars Brad Renfro and Dominique Swain. So people might remember Brad Renfro as that guy who was in Apt Pupil and Ghost World, and then I think he died at like 22 or something like that. He died like really, really young.
Oh,
but he's one of these great tragic cases of just like, oh yeah, that's what Hollywood will do to you. But yeah, and Zadeh Rosenthal also worked on a movie called Daddy's Dying ... Who's Got the Will?
Oh wow.
Which surprisingly starred Beau Bridges. I thought like, oh, no one's gonna be in this thing. It was like, Beau Bridges in it. What the hell?
This is an incredible title.
The fact that it has a question mark, and then I suddenly realized in all these credits I've looked up, shockingly, there's been no exclamation marks in any of these film titles, so except Mars Attacks. But like, that was one of our big things in the opening credits. Like, we were, Beth, you would know, but we were like pitching, doing a new podcast, looking at movies that have exclamation points in the title.
Have you found any? How many?
Oh, a lot.
Well, I mean, in the opening credits, there was tons. So we were going to do a show called I Do Declare. I was just going to be looking at all. But, yeah, so far in these end credits, none. Because there's been no friggin' people are not associated with movies that have exclamation points in the title.
It's a dying trend.
I thought Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will could benefit from an additional exclamation point on, atop the question mark. So I mean, Daddy's Dying, Who's Got the Will? Like,
Is it like Who's Got the Will? Like the kids are scrambling to secure the fortune?
Yeah, I think so.
I looked it up, and it does seem to be like, yeah, this guy's dying, and then the estranged family come together, but no one can find the dad's will, so what's gonna happen?
Or
But it
who's got the
brings them
will
all
to
together.
live after
Who's got the will to go on watching it?
Yeah.
That's gonna be like the dad's last words, like, who's got the will to live? Not me.
What a way to go. I want to do that.
That is little, like, the heart monitor thing has an exclamation point comes up as he's dead.
Yes.
But yeah, that's all I have for Zadeh Rosenthal.
Yeah, I'm trying to see who else I've got here. Oh, one I found this is genuinely fascinating to me. Tim Burton's assistant, Letitia Rogers.
Yep.
Now, there's very little in her filmography. Right, so she does this, disappears. Then she comes back for like one last hurrah, basically, because she her first stint she did Dick Tracy, Edward Scissorhands, Batman Returns, Nightmare Before Christmas, and then a movie called Bingo in 1999. And then she just stops working for 10 years and comes back to work on Angels and Demons.
Ooh,
And what a weird thing to come back for, and then nothing else.
Oh, that is weird.
Do you know if that Bingo from 1999, was that like the kids movie about the dog? Because I used to see that, like, at Christmas time when before we got, like, satellite TV over here. So when you were stuck with like 6 stations, and you're just like flipping around, I was like, some movie called Bingo's on. Hey, it's Christmas holidays. I guess I'm watching this now.
Yeah, I think it is that one, for what I could see. Yeah, I thought it was fascinating. Why take 10 years off and then come back for that movie, Angels and Demons? Odd.
I just find this weird too, because like she worked on Dick Tracy first, but like Dick Tracy gets a lot of flack for them ripping off the '89 Batman movies so much. So I wonder, maybe that I was almost going to think, oh, she worked in Batman, then Dick Tracy, and then she disappeared. It would have been like Tim Burton was like, you gave him all my damn secrets.
Yeah.
Traitor.
Yeah.
Of course, then get I love the credit of Boom.
Yes.
Exclamation mark.
It's a fellow called Carl Fisher, who's worked on Escape from New York, which has also got a minute-by-minute treatment coming up.
Oh.
I think it's actually out at the minute.
And I just watched it the other day for the first time in about, Jesus, I don't know, 18 years or something.
But he also worked on, and I think like whenever me and John got around to doing like a Patreon thing, like just or something, so we can just do random projects that aren't really Batman related.
Yeah.
He also worked on a movie called Vibes, which is a movie starring Cyndi Lauper and Jeff Goldblum.
Oh.
In which she plays Sylvia, a ditzy psychic, and Nick, her equally odd psychic friend, and it covers their trip into the Ecuadorian Andes to find the source of psychic energy. Ooh. And it has 6% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, wow.
And it's like, this is clearly the greatest film ever made. Just that pitch, like Cyndi Lauper, Jeff Goldblum, crazy psychics.
That's all I need.
Yeah.
That's like I can only assume that it's got 6% in Rotten Tomatoes because people are f***ing idiots because they don't know a good thing when they have it, and they just didn't know what to do with this gold.
How dare you disrespect Jeff that way?
Oh, Cindy.
And Cindy. Love her. I went to see Kinky Boots on stage recently, and she did all the music for that.
Yeah, it's great.
It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
I was thinking recently, I guess it couldn't happen now, but like, because Cyndi Lauper, if you ever hear her talking, she's incredibly New York. Like, she's really like, hey, it's me, I'm Cyndi Lauper. Yeah, what are you going to do about it?
I think she's one of the 2 reasons, like, listening to her as a kid and watching Ghostbusters as a kid with Janine, they're both responsible for me finding that the sexiest accent.
But it's like, oh, they should have done a Cyndi Lauper biopic and then get like Natasha Lyonne, the player, because she is, but she's got even raspier, like, hey, it's me, Natasha Lyonne. Hey, what's it doing over here? But I guess now she's like, Natasha Lyonne's like late 30s, so it's just like, that was a bit weird for her to be doing like teenage Cyndi Lauper when she was starting out.
Hey, it didn't stop, Dawson's Creek and whatnot.
Oh,
They're all clearly about 48.
Yeah.
they just did that Bob Dylan movie where there's like 5 different people playing him.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're like, hey, we can have 5 different Cyndi Laupers, but they're all just Natasha Lyonne in various disguises, pretending she's other actors.
Can we have a Batman film that has Natasha Lyonne in it in some capacity, please?
Oh yeah, well, Natasha Lyonne as like Commissioner Gordon, but the whole movie's just about her.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, this Batman, my God, he's such a pain in the ass.
Oh my god, yeah, let's gender flip Gordon.
It's just like turn around, Batman's gone like, oh, all the time he's doing this over here. I'm standing here talking, turn around, he's gone. What am I supposed to do?
Sold.
Yeah. It'd be like one of those things people will be like, so Gordon, you transferred over. Where from? Like, what the hell you think I transferred over from? You hear my voice?
I had a credit I noted here as well for men's costume supervisor, Norman Berzer.
Ooh.
Just because I thought it was interesting. He worked on 60 episodes of the original Star Trek. And then he also did Gremlins and My Girl 2.
Oh.
Bit of a downgrade.
Not even my Girl 1. Just like I couldn't even land the first one.
Yes, My Girl, the original B movie.
Hey. That's a dark joke. I don't know, Beth, did you understand?
No,
that joke?
I don't know.
It's within the first My Girl movie, Macaulay Culkin's character gets stung to death by bees.
Oh,
So
I get it.
Yeah.
Oh, that is dark.
Yeah, and it's all for love as well, because they're little kids, but they have like a cute little romance. And what does he give her? A ring, I think. And she drops it in the woods. So he goes back to get it, but accidentally enrages some bees, and he's allergic to bees, and they kill him.
Oh,
like, oh my
gosh,
God.
that's horrifying.
Yeah, it's awful.
that's kind of that's the weird legacy of My Girl all these years later.
Yeah.
It's just like I can't remember anything else that happens in it. I just know it has the girl from Veep in it.
Yeah.
And then
Bees.
it's just like, yeah, vicious murder, death, kill by bees.
See, I saw My Girl 2 as well, because my sister was obsessed with these films. But I don't remember anything about that. Does that also have child death?
I don't remember
I have no
actually
idea.
My Girl 2. But I can tell you that the production design. What was this guy? What did he work on again? On
This
My
guy,
Girl
men's
2?
costume supervisor.
Oh, the men's costumes in it, John. Oh, they were something to see. Let me tell you.
Mm.
You just Dan Aykroyd cutting a figure so sharp you take your eye out.
Well, the women's costume supervisor, I'm going to butcher this name, Oda Groschel? I don't know. She worked on, I mean, obviously, I'm not knocking Norman. He had some good stuff there, Star Trek. But Oda, she had an even better filmography because she did this, of course, and Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Clue, which I
Ooh.
defend Clue. Ghostbusters 2. And my favorite, Last Action Hero,
Hey.
which again we'll defend on this podcast. I'll defend it till the day I die. In fact, I'll probably die defending it. I imagine. That's how it was foresaw by the psychic all those years ago.
Is it the Danny DeVito link that you need within your movies?
Of course. The more DeVito, the better, really.
Yeah. It's like, yeah, tragically underused in that movie. Because if that movie had been, instead of the kid, had it been Arnie and that cat that Danny DeVito does in it, that would have been, everyone would love that. But other credit I've got here is for one of the staff assistants is a fellow called Chad Waters. And that's a silly name. I would have called him Chaz Wudges. But, I just wanted to make that Simpsons reference there. So.
An episode can't go by without a Simpsons reference.
But he did work on Forever and Batman and Robin.
That's
and
a shame.
Men in Black, Hellboy, the first Hellboy, and Planet of the Apes.
Oh.
So,
Was that not someone else as well?
Yeah, there's a lot of these people, like, you start realizing there's a lot of crossover in these things. And you do wonder, like, behind the scenes, like, there's, like, the best boy wandering up to, like, you know, the boom mic guy, but like, hey, it's you! Like, I met this guy years ago on the set of My Girl 2, or something.
Do you know what I think the boring answer probably is, though? They'll all have the same, like, I'm going to say agent, but it wouldn't be an agent for crew, I suppose. It'd be... What word could you use? Let's just say agent. They'll have the same agent. They'll be, like, hired as a package. They'll contact a company and be like, we need a team of guys to do this, that, this, that, this, that. They're like, here you go.
Yeah, probably.
If they ever need a vocal technician, though, Beth,
I'm here. Yeah.
But yeah, there's a bunch of other, you know, credits popping up. And it popped up, I've seen Jennifer Morrison. I was like, is that the Jennifer Morrison from Once Upon a Time? I'm like, no, it's not.
It never is when you ask that question.
But yeah, then we all, at one point, we also get the credit for Bob Kane as you know,
Your
the
fave.
guy who, quote unquote, created Batman. And then took all the credit for it, even though everybody else, well, Bill Finger did all the work. But where's Bill Finger's name? Batman Returns. Where's his name in these damn credits? No. But yeah, that's the kind of last credit I really took notes on for this minute. Do you? Yeah. Was there any other names you wanted to talk about in particular, Beth? Or?
No, we've covered a lot of names.
Sorry, unfortunately, that is the nature of the credit minute. But usually at the end, we just start asking the guests about like their history with the movie and like what they think of Batman Returns in general. So like, do you have any strong feelings about the movie? Or?
Yeah, again, it's kind of nostalgic, like in the same way that like, well, maybe not in exactly the same way. I didn't think I was going to be Batman, like I thought I was going to be a wizard, but I
also good.
Yeah, I think life would have been different, maybe. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bit of a classic movie from, like, when I was younger, really. So for me, of course, I really enjoy it. And it's one of my favorites, I have to say.
Yes.
Or one of my older favorites. I don't know. I can't. I know you're gonna go, what is your favorite? And I can't choose. I'm the worst. So I'm stopping that before it even starts because I never even know.
That was my question.
Yeah, I know. I can tell.
Well, what's your second favorite then?
Oh, well, no, I have no idea.
Well, do you have a favorite series? Like, is this series of Batman your thing, or do you like the newer ones, the Christopher Nolan, or things like that?
You know what? I don't know. I definitely think the new, or what? Not like the new ones, but I love just like a Christian Bale Batman. How do you feel about it? Oh, it's like I can hear the silence.
Well, we like him. Don't get us wrong, but he's our number 2.
He's your number 2.
Yeah.
Who's your number 1?
Oh, Michael Keaton.
Okay, of course, fair.
That's one of those difficult ones too, because it means like, well, are you counting like voice acting or just live action? Because if it's live action, yeah, it's Keaton. But like,
don't you dare say he's not number 1 across the board.
No, because Kevin Conroy is Batman. As like, just he is the best Batman you're gonna get, but he is voice only.
Don't make me slap you again.
But like, what do you think about? Because one of their kind of continuing questions of going on is like the representation of Catwoman in it, because we've had various guests on who, like, some people find, like, we had Clarice Lowry from fills in for Mark Commode on occasion. She was all like, oh yeah. That was so empowering. Love the Catwoman character, because the only reason I'm on here is to talk about Catwoman and stuff.
Yeah.
And then other people were just like, nah, she's a bit much, and plus all she talks about is men. It's like she wouldn't pass like the Bechdel test and stuff.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of looking back at it like, yeah, is this a bit too, like, is it too sexualized? Is it a good version of Catwoman? Is it an offensive character? Is it an empowering character? Like, where do you stand on it?
I don't think I'm like super keen on this I don't find it like offensive. I feel like that's a bit too much. I suppose maybe I should do. I don't know, because you're like, oh, well, you're so used to stuff like that in society. So, however, maybe it would be nice for her just to be badass without being super, super sexy all the time, which you're getting more and more of in movies.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm kind of like more towards the side is that she's always portrayed as like super, super sexy. And I mean, not that like, it's fine to be attractive, of course. But she doesn't always have to be. Doesn't have to be that.
Well, fair enough. Like, I do wonder, like, I think a lot of people do have the inherent thing of like, no, Catwoman needs to be sexy though. Because even Chris Nolan was like, yeah, have her kind of seductively draped over this bike for a second here, because like that's just part of the character.
Yeah.
So it'll be someday there was like, just Catwoman with no sexy. That'd be.
I mean, it doesn't have to be like zero sexy. I just think that there's, I mean, it just has to be like, I mean, she doesn't have to be like a slug on the bike or anything. She can, she can still maintain posture. I don't know. But yeah, I think it just would be nice for it not to be, as you say, like all about men, and have her own version of badass. But then it's so difficult because you've got the kind of like the empowerment of it as well, and empowerment of sexuality as well. So I always find these really difficult to judge, and I think maybe in isolation it's absolutely fine. It's just as there's so many portrayals that are similar. So if there wasn't so many portrayals that are similar, there would be no problem with that in isolation.
Okay.
Oh, I see. Yeah. Like, you're fine with it, but enough's enough now.
Yeah, exactly.
Although, speaking about sexy, a recurring question we also have from way back in the first season is that when I was growing up, I was under the impression that Jack Nicholson was regarded by everybody as like, he's a really sexy guy.
Yeah.
Like, Jack Nicholson is just like a sex on legs kind of person. And I found out from talking to the guests last season, no, he's not. Apparently, a lot of people were like, oh God, no one touched Jack Nicholson.
No, I don't believe that.
Really?
No, I don't think he is at all. What?
Good.
Why did you think this?
I was even like, I was watching the other day a movie he directed back in the 70s called Going South, where in which he plays like this kind of homeless drifter. It's a Western, but he's a kind of like, bandy-legged bandit and stuff. And he's got this big unkempt beard, and he's still like Jack Nicholson it up. And I was watching that as a 31-year-old man going, this guy is sexy. Like, I can imagine women liking this guy. Like, yeah, he's really charming, but he also has a kind of an attractiveness, even with this big unkempt beard.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't believe that people don't find him. And I've heard other people since say, like, in other shows, oh yeah, the sex appeal of Jack Nicholson. I'm like, where were these people when we were talking about him last year?
Well, as we said though, and some of the guests who did agree with you, it's all down to his attitude and his personality and his rebellious kind of. Let's be honest, he looks and acts and sounds like filth.
But so I had to mark up on the board like, yeah, another no for Jack.
Oh, I feel bad now. I feel bad. I don't want Jack to find out. Would Jack find out?
Oh no, he's got a direct link to the show. We send him all the information.
Yeah. I'm gonna get a phone call being like, "You don't think I'm sexy?" And I'll be like, "I'm so sorry, Jack. I'm so sorry." But
Let's just hope he doesn't.
It's all a matter of like, everyone's got their own personal sexy meter. Is that a word? I've just made that up.
Yeah, that counts. That's a word.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have to end on that depressing note now. You're a failure again, and I'm right.
Cool.
That's most conversations. Yes, we will head off now into the dark night.
What the hell are you trying to say there?
Well, I thought I would slip that in and then just quickly change the topic.
Make a nugget, edit that out.
No, God damn it. Yes, we will head off into the dark night. Would you like to tell our listeners where they can find you and your work online, like your YouTube and whatnot?
Yeah, basically, I'm Beth Roars everywhere. So on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, websites, BethRoars.com. You'll find me. Just put Beth Roars in Google.
Yeah, make sure you do that, everybody. Get on YouTube. We're on YouTube as well, apparently, which is weird because we're a podcast. But I set it up and forgot. So there you go. And, come and chat to us on Facebook or at the Bat Minute Listeners Cave. We're on Twitter at Bat Minute. Instagram as well, just Bat Minute. Just put Bat Minute in. We come up. And as I advertised earlier, go on TeePublic, buy a T-shirt, buy a mug, buy a laptop case, I think you can get. Buy a cushion.
You get a laptop? I didn't know that.
I think you can. You can get a phone case. You can get... what other products have I made? You can get a onesie for your baby, which we have sold one of.
Have you?
Oh, yeah.
So we have indeed.
To be fair, it was me who bought that.
Oh, it was you. Oh, wait, but it was a present for someone, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
It wasn't from like I don't have a baby to.
Oh, you're just stocking them up for your dad jokes.
That's what it is. Yes.
Well, that's the thing I've got going because all my friends have babies now, so I'm getting to do all the dad jokes without ever needing to actually have a kid.
Yeah,
So it's
great.
it's great.
Perfect.
Best of
All
all
the
worlds.
crap jokes, none of the responsibility. It's fantastic.
But yeah, buy all of those because I'm sure your baby will be the most stylish baby in the world in those. They won't need any other clothing whatsoever other than cartoon representations of me and Niall. That's all they could ask for in life. And join us again next time for more Bat Minute Returns.
Next time, expect a spectre. An encumbrance of eponyms continues to accredit a collection of missions from costume effects to hair supervision. But while a runette rolls up to make up Michelle's brow, is it the lady who wants us to be her baby now? Find out Friday, same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.